And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them.
We talked a little bit yesterday about the Game Developers Conference and how Sweet Baby Inc. They speak at a lot of these conferences, the Game Developers Conference, and this takes place in San Francisco. And when you look at this, this speech took place in 2019 at the Game Developers Conference, and this is the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc. talking about bringing marginalized collaborators into these AAA studios and how they're able to do it. Let's take a look at this video really quick.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
So threaten? That is so par for the course for that whole side of the movement. People, I know they hate the term woke or whatever, but that's just so par for the course for them. It's like they use intimidation tactics through cry bullying, through, okay, let's make them feel like they have to accept our ideologies, or they have to have consulting like this now, or they can't have female characters that look beautiful, or this, that, or the other, because if so, then we're going to, the social repercussions are going to be, they're a bigot, they're a misogynist, they're this, they're that, they're the other. It is cry bullying. This is very, and speaking of toxic things, this is a very toxic feminine tactic to use as intimidation. They want to talk about toxic masculinity all the time, but this is toxic femininity in full force. If they can't get their way, then they will manipulate you and they will try to ruin your reputation. So instead of, oh, we don't want people to think we're bad people, we have to fold, we have to cave, we have to do this, that, or the other and jump through their hoops. It's ridiculous.
I want to play this one more time, just so we can hear this again, because this is like, it's straight up threatening. It's straight up, and then when they say like, hey, what are you talking about? They totally gaslight you on the way out, and that's the other thing that you see here. So I want to play this one more time.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher ups.
Listen to what this is. Build connections with marketing to express the value of the value of inclusion. Build connections. Okay, that is a totally different statement to what she's about to say.
And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask,
she's speaking in code. If they don't see the value in what you're asking for, aka if they don't agree with what you're saying,
for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
As you pointed out, Mel, the mob will come after you. The mob, you should be terrified, right? And I think that's the difference. Once again, going back to the date here, we're talking about 5 years ago, almost to the day. Right, we're talking about 4 years and almost 5 years here. The tone has shifted, in that in the last 5 years we've seen a slippery slope where people have been scared for their careers, scared for we have to put the black square in our Twitter post. We have to put the Ukraine flag. We have to support the current thing. And now people are like, get fucked. We don't care. Like, I think it has totally shifted back in the other direction. And I don't know if this strategy will necessarily work anymore to a point. But I don't know, X-Ray, I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
It still does work, because we're trying to, like, I would say the people on YouTube that are talking about this, you're very informed of what's happening. But the normie, they're still scared of doing certain things to not piss people off. So once the normies figure it out, however long it takes, I'm thinking maybe a few years still, then we might see a change there. But I mean, I help my mom. She's very computer illiterate, and she was doing because she's a massage therapist, she was doing her yearly stuff. And
in it, there was a lot of language that deals with that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And I mean, like, yes, you want to be polite, but you can't just roll out the red carpet for every single person, you know?
Right.
So, and the other big thing is it's affecting profits. If
Mhm.
profits are affected, companies, the reason they're there is the money, right? You
Yep.
can't survive without it. So they're going to have to figure out how to do things. Otherwise, the company will be gone eventually.
Yep.
You talk about being polite, right? There's a difference between being polite, and I think that's the thing that most people in this space, most people want to be polite. They just
Mhm.
don't like it when things are forced down their throat. Like when they're forced, like the idea of forced diversity, right? I'm going to see if I can find this tweet from a little bit ago, but I like this tweet, and it really fucking nailed it. Just kind of the differences between how there's a lot of like when we grew up. And that's almost how it feels right now. But there's definitely a strong pushback that's happening, in at least from an online space. And I asked this yesterday, like the Game Developers Conference is happening here in like 2 weeks in San Francisco, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking to myself, like, I should go up there. Like, I should go up there. I it's too late to speak at an event like this.
Mhm.
But I should go up there, and I should
film it all.
go out in the front of it and talk about, like, look, we don't want this shit, and represent everybody there. I feel like I should absolutely be there and hold up some signs and not protest, but just let people know that you're in a bubble, and this bubble doesn't extend to the rest of the world. Here you go. I found this tweet here, and I think this is absolutely brilliant. And it's kind of a long tweet. But this actually was in response to a Mark Cuban tweet. I don't know if you guys have followed Mark Cuban at all. So Mark Cuban is the owner, or was the owner, of Dallas Mavericks. He still has a little bit of ownership in it. But he was talking about, he was responding to somebody about, like, what do you think of racism? And he said, I think racism has become worse on the political edges of American society, which makes it more virulent and impactful to people of color and women. People can come on X and other platforms, remain anonymous, and find common ground with other racists, homophobes, anti-Semites, etc. That just make them more fervent, right? And he ends up talking about, that's his opinion on it. He's just saying it's worse now because of X. Well, this was a really great response to this. This is from this guy named Amiri King. I don't really know who this person is, but he says, has racism and representation really gotten worse? Walk with me and I'll tell you exactly what the problem is. I was born in 1979. I got to experience the entirety of the 80s and 90s. Evening television shows consisted of In Living Color, Family Matters, The Cosby Show, Fresh Prince, Martin, Living Single, Rock, etc. Our superheroes were Bo Jackson, Shaq, Charles Barkley, Deion Sanders, Mike Tyson, Tiger Woods, and the greatest athlete of all time, Michael Jordan. Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor absolutely owned comedy, full stop. Mr. T was the baddest man on the planet. We lined up to watch Wesley Snipes, Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, Danny Glover, Lawrence Fishburne perform magic on the silver screen. I witnessed a new genre of black music skyrocket from a borough in New York and absolutely enchant the planet. There's not a peer my age that can't recite at least one NWA song. Even the most redneck, backwood, toothless motherfucker in Alabama can name one song off the Chronic album. Our favorite teachers were black. Our coaches were black. Our podiatricians were black. Our neighbors were black. Our principals were black. And here's a real shocker for the white privilege mob. My parole officer was black. Now consider all the above and add to the fact, get ready for this one, none of us gave a fuck that any of these people were black. Nobody fucking cared. And therein lies your problem. That's the issue. The world stopped caring. It's no longer enough to simply be thriving and happy. It has to be, look at me, I'm black. I'm an ancestor of slavery. You're the reason for all my problems. Look at what you did. You slaveried me, robbed a Wendy's because of you. Same with LGBT. Look, I'm gay. Can't you see how oppressed I am? Look at me, twerk on a dildo in a parade. You are oppressing me. I cut off my dick. Now that I have you, now that I refer to as my vagina, or I'll report you to HR
Yep.
and have you fired. And that's your problem. Everyone stopped giving a fuck, and many people couldn't take it. Look at the hashtags, blah, 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 blah. It's not enough to be in love, feel excellent, own a business, reach success on your own anymore. You got to be black. Beyonce's queen. I built Egypt. I'm trans, pansexual, and this is my identity. They are my pronouns. It's a fucking cult, both of them. Prove me wrong.
Wow.
Gosh, so well
That one.
said.
Very well said.
And the
And-
problem, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, they want to force these kind of things on us, and they want to try to take moral high ground. And oh, if you don't agree, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a bad person. And they use that to emotionally manipulate people. I just had someone yesterday reach out to me. Oh, I remember when you were so nice and you're not sharing joy anymore. Why aren't you sharing joy anymore? It's like, so I have to play with all of these shenanigans. We've reached a point where we're like, I don't care. Call me a bigot now. I don't care. What else are you going to do? Let people emotionally manipulate you?
Exactly. And the goalpost always moves, right? Like when people actually are or were racist, it was downright mean. Like I watched a Doctor Who episode set in 1913, and one of the kids were like, I don't know if you can even tell if that's dirty given the color of your skin. And I'm like, oh my God, that's actually like horrible to say. Now, apparently asking or saying that people like fried chicken is racist or whatever. I'm like, is it really though?
Right.
Seeing a set of, things that a lot of people like a certain food, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's wild to me. Plus, when we talk about these things about slavery and whatnot, you are in America and you're not a slave currently. Can you say you're oppressed? You were
Right.
not a slave. Maybe your grandparents were.
Yep.
I can acknowledge that.
Great grandparents.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1800s.
1800 great grandparents. Yeah. So, that's been what, 100 years or so more that you aren't affected. So you can pull yourself out. A lot of immigrants come here and want the American life, and they go out and get it. So you can do it too.
Mm.
Yep.
There's loans. You can borrow money, get an education, or whatever it is to bring yourself further. So don't blame white people or all these other different types of people for your problems. It's you.
Yeah. To
But
even
even-
bounce off what X-Ray was saying, do you guys remember like way back in the day with like the whole Harry and Meghan Markle debacle, and they were expecting their first child, and someone inside the family was like, oh, what color do you think the skin will be? Because she's half black and he's super, super pale. And somehow trying to figure out, oh, what you think, what color skin color will be like, will it be more dark, more pale, is somehow racist. But it's like the same thing as saying like, oh, blue eyes or whatever. You think he's gonna have blue eyes or green eyes? It's like everything is considered racist now. It's like, but it's not. They're literally wondering, oh, how dark do you think the baby's gonna be? Who's he gonna look like? His mom or his dad? It's like everything is just racist. It's like, oh, don't you guys get tired of being victims 24/7? Like, isn't it exhausting? It's draining.
Because the reason they do it is because people have bowed down to them and given them more things because they scream victimhood. So
Right.
they just continue doing it.
And by the way, not just figuratively, they've literally bowed down to them,
Yes.
like physically.
Yep.
And which once again goes back to what does this have to do with video games? Everything. It has everything to do with video games, because everything, like what it goes back to, video games are the biggest form of media on earth. Like just destroying movies, destroying TV, outselling them all, right?
Mhm.
And then you have people inside it saying things
If
like
you're creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
That is why. That is what this has to do with video games.
Yep.
100%. So what is it, a video game? Yes, this is a fucking video game podcast. Do you not understand? Do you not see the correlation between the two? If you don't, you're fucking blind.
Mm-hmm.
You're fucking blind.
Yep.
Or you're just too ignorant to not see it.